Hey Silly, welcome back to another video, or hello if you are new. Today, got another speed build. We are slowly but surely making our way through this zoo. It doesn't feel like it, but things are going to start moving a lot quicker coming up here. And there's going to be a lot more things to show off. I do actually finish something in this episode, which is exciting. I work on this very large picnic area. Sorry if you can hear my cat in the background using her scratch post. Yeah, I work on this very large picnic area that I don't think the guests are going to use at all. They can use it. It's got real game picnic benches. It's got path. It's just a diversion from the path to any animal, so I don't think they're going to choose to use those picnic benches. There's also not a food stand or anything nearby. And you might be able to tell from this shot, I struggled with this area a lot, so I'm about to delete pretty much everything that I've built so far except for this cool, I don't even know what to call it, like a barrier, like a visual barrier, maybe? It's some kind of like fancy garden wall. It's, yeah, it's just meant to kind of block the animals, block the guests, the view of the guests from the garden, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what it's for. It's not for anything. It's for decor. What am I even talking about? So yeah, I've just deleted everything. I'm about to get rid of this pond too. I don't know. I had this idea about doing like a little walkway, and there's so much cool inspiration with water that you can do. But it just doesn't work in this game. The water next to any pathing is just, it's just a nightmare. It's so bulky, like you just can't, there's not a lot of finesse that you can have in shaping the water. And so I find that to be kind of frustrating sometimes. Like, I wish I would do so many more interesting things with the water. The only way you can get like a perfectly nice barrier that's like solid and also small is to use an actual barrier, not the land. But that creates a whole bunch of other problems, especially when you're trying to make something watertight and or it's just one section of glass barrier or what, you know, whatever barrier, and then the rest of the pond is like just surrounded by land. It's like natural except for that one area, because I did try to do that for my swim up bar that I have in the guest pool, but it just didn't work. I had already kind of had the shape of things going in, and so it just didn't, I don't know, maybe there's some things I could have done to make it work, but I spent quite a long time on it as it was, and I just gave up. I figured I could just cover it with the columns, which would be easier than trying to fiddle with it for like several hours in game, because it just, sometimes it just does not do what you want it to do. Like this fountain was fairly easy to put together. It really didn't take me all that long, and it just kind of worked. But then you have, you know, the other side of things where it just doesn't work at all. I think I was having a little bit of trouble with like the spa area. So yeah, the water and the barriers in this game has always been quite finicky. It's difficult to make good water features, in my opinion, unless you're doing like some more natural river or something like that. But if you want to do anything that feels less natural, it's very difficult to achieve that. very difficult. So, as I said, I don't think the guests actually will use this area, but I did have a lot of fun building it. I wanted it to be like this very serene area to have lunch or whatever. It's right in the front of the zoo, so I imagine it can also function as like meeting up with your family if you're like meeting a group or something. Or just, you know, taking a break before you get into the zoo because there's a lot to do. Maybe you're at the end of the zoo and this is where you, because this is one of the pathways that you can either go through to enter the zoo, or you might pass this on your way out. It's kind of in between those two spaces. So I just thought it would be a very nice sort of serene area. And again, the front of the zoo is all about your first impressions, and so the first impression I want people to have in the zoo is like, wow, this is magnificent, and it's very luxurious as well. And so that's the vibe that I'm going for. And I think this picnic area does a good job of kind of showing off that vibe. I did have a kind of terrible time with this wall piece here, because the path is crooked, so I can't like cut too much into it to make the entryway symmetrical. Otherwise it'll look stupid and the guests will clip through things. So I did my best to like make it look somewhat symmetrical while also following the crooked path as well as I could. And so the whole idea here is just to have like a lot of layers or tiers of garden and lots of different plants and just things to look at. I wish I could have put butterflies through this, but once I thought about it, it didn't really work, and also it's not big enough. Like, maybe I could have done it in the straightaway just at the beginning, but it just didn't. I think I did try at one point and I didn't feel like it really fit that well. So I do have butterflies later on near the Nile monitor habitat in the guest center. I don't know what to call it. It's sort of like an educational center. Well, that's what I thought of when I was building it initially, but yeah. So I am going to show off this cinematic at the end of this video, even though this section is not done by the end of this video. It's just that I feel like you guys got the gist from it here, and the rest of it is just me putting plants down. And like I said before, if something is so repetitive like that, I'm probably just going to cut the footage out, because do you really need to see me put the same like 10 plants scattered around this picnic area in all the different bases? I did leave a lot of my like putting the mulch down in this area, but there's not actually all that much, so it didn't feel super overwhelming. Plus, I would wonder personally how somebody got it to look nice, like the garden bed, and not like clip through the walls or anything. And so I figured maybe somebody would want to see this to see how I'm doing it. So yeah, and as you can see, I'm just using different sized mulch beds, and I just kind of stick them in corners as best I can. There's so many different sizes. I'm sure you can find one that fits. And even though there's these like horrid lines where you can kind of see the mulch beds overlapping each other, once there's plants, that's basically invisible. So it works. It looks really nice when you actually decorate it with plants and things. And I did also put a water feature. I've already built the water fountain, but then I also put like some waterfall effects behind to make it like a sort of interesting fountain. And So like I said, I don't do that in this video, in this episode, but you will see it at the end. And it looks, you know, I struggled a lot with this area, frankly, and it's still not my favorite area in the zoo, definitely. I don't know if I love everything. I would probably put more time into this area, and I don't think I will because I'm sort of tired of it. But, you know, you probably should get a little bit more care. I think I'm also just very hard on myself with my building. Because I see other people's builds and I'm like, that looks fantastic. Even though I know exactly how they did it, or if it looks... I don't know, there's like... I guess it's just the game. It's just... The game looks beautiful, but there's some effects that just look a little funny. And one of them is the waterfall. I've never quite been able to make a natural looking waterfall, and that's probably a fault of mine more so than the actual effects in the game. I just struggle with the way that they are to make it look realistic, you know? But in the end, it is what it is. This is a very nice, lush area. If I was going to a zoo, I would love to eat lunch here. And I do carry this over into other areas of the zoo. There's going to be more like tiered garden type things. And I've also been using these white faux aquatic rocks. I use them in all my habitats because I love that rock, but it also looks really nice as, like, you know, people put these white pebble rocks as in place of like mulch, or in addition to mulch, to kind of like decorate, maybe like as a border or something. And so I do that here as well, and it's actually, I think it looks very similar to kind of how I envisioned it to look. And the cat is here. So sorry if you heard her butt against the microphone. She has no boundaries, and she's now laying in my arms. Maybe you can even hear her purring. She's not the loudest purrer, but she is right under the microphone, so I don't have a filter yet. I've been thinking about investing in one, and I'm gonna put the cat down because she's being a nuisance right now, and she's gonna try to jump up here again, and we're gonna have a little battle. So anyway, yeah, I don't really do anything else in this video except work on this picnic area, and next episode is going to be pure chaos. I work on like 8 different things next episode. I don't really stick to anything, or I feel like you can tell in the next episode that I am struggling with kind of figuring out the details of my zoo, and then I'm kind of losing focus because I kind of have these like big grand areas, and then I feel overwhelmed with trying to decorate them. And so I take a break from I go back to the entrance of the zoo, not the entrance building, but I build a fountain out in the turnaround of my zoo where the path is, and I do something else. Oh, I work on the bungalows a little bit, which you guys will finally see. So yeah, lots of things coming in the next few episodes. And then we're really gonna, once we get past like episode 13 or 14, then I become much more focused on what I'm doing in each episode. So I just kind of stick to habitats and work on them from start to finish in one recording session, and I don't have to worry about all the nonsense of me going back and forth to all these different areas, because I just, you know, I had to figure out what I was doing. That's what you're seeing, even still. 12 episodes in, It's still a little bit of a work in progress of me finding my build rhythm, but once I do, things are going to go much more smoothly, and we are going to get through this soon in no time at all. But that is about the end of this episode. So, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to see more content from me, check the playlist for all the other speed builds in the Zoo series, and join my Discord if you feel like it, because I am trying to build up my Planet Zoo community, as well as the Long Dark. Any game, really. Just join the Discord. We will have a good time. Maybe you can join a D&D game at some point. I might open it up to my subscribers later on, but in any case, I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, bye!